Oh, you're actually pretty.
I'll start recording this. We can still chat a little bit. California, nice place.
You're
Yeah.
actually near me. I'm right by Santa Monica, over by I live right by UCLA.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Let me see. What's the weather like today? It's a little overcast, but it's still
Yeah.
been pretty good this week. It's
Has-
79, I think, yesterday. This is like pretty good.
I hope I'll be able to join you guys soon. I'm in Poland trying to get my US visa these days.
Well, is there going to be any problem because of the COVID?
Well, COVID,
Yeah, does that make the process harder?
it sure does. I've been doing that for more than a year now. Yeah, but mostly it's just like embassies are closed. You need to find the embassy that's open, and then you need to be able to travel to that open embassy. Every country has its own restriction.
So, where are the rest of the Rarible offices? Does Rarible have like an office?
So most of our technical team is located in Eastern Europe and scattered across the Eastern Europe. Most of our non-technical team is scattered across the world. We have 2 people in UK, 2 in the US, South Africa, Eric's from Canada. So it's just all this Western part of the world.
Wow. How did the team come together? How did they find everybody?
On Slack, I guess.
On Slack, like you guys are all hanging out in a Slack channel and like they recruited you all?
Oh, you mean initially?
Yeah, like initially, how did they find everybody?
Well, I guess it's more or less the common process, either networking or just recruitment. So all over the world, somebody came from personal connections, somebody came from just searching on the open market.
Cool. Yeah, it's tough to find good people.
It is, especially who are experienced in crypto or want to be experienced in crypto. So the intersection becomes very little.
Yeah, my friends are looking for like they always ask like, do you have any friends who are looking for like jobs in crypto company? And then the problem is that all these people that they're looking for are like talented people, and a lot of talented people are like all working on their own projects. So
Yeah,
very
yeah.
tough.
If you go into like the Solidity Telegram channel or something like that, it's just a bunch of people asking to recruit developers. There's no questions about development.
I guess we have an interesting intersection between people who are like sole entrepreneurs that are in the middle between creating their own project or just but they don't work like full-time on some company anymore, and they work for DAOs, they spend time in communities, they yield farm and do things like that. So it's funny, this like semi-entrepreneurial group of people is really like playing the large role in the blockchain development these days.
Yeah, well, you never know which project's going to take off. So like you kind of dabble in a few different things and you try and figure out which one's going to take off. But like I'm working on a few different projects. And if somebody wants me to work full time on something, it means giving up, all of the potential lottery tickets of one of the other things that I'm working on, so I can't go work full time for somebody on a salary because I'd have to give up like all my other stuff. So
it's almost like it's a combination of development, community management, and investment mindset. You're partially analytic, that is like scouting for projects.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Alex or Sasha, I don't think I've heard. How did you originally get started? Like, how did you get your initial momentum going? Yeah, how did it start from idea to being able to raise funding and to bring on additional people into the project?
With Rarible?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got the initial idea more or less exactly 2 years ago in summer. And then I went to United States to travel. And there was this, I think the team released the project on November 2019, right? So it was the MVP, the simple tool that allows you to mint and sell. And since then, it's been more or less hustling on Twitter. So I guess two things played a major role. The first one was that there was really not a lot of places to mint your stuff, mint your NFTs. That's why a lot of people who just wanted to experiment with the space were looking for the place. And other platforms were curated. You needed to be approved and wait for a couple of weeks until you can just experiment. So that worked. So just DMing people that might be artists or haven't heard about NFTs, onboarding them by hand. That was done by one of our community members. One of not the community members, but our team members. And another thing that worked, what I say sometimes, it's almost like the Twitter development. So help a bigger project to like push their product further, to integrate someone. Like I think we integrated Kyber Network, we integrated 3box, we integrated a couple other like third-party solutions, and it creates this like just mutual benefit where help them to like adopt their platform, and they helped in response just to tweet about it. So I think that's a good strategy.
Cool.
And
Thank you for sharing. That actually is very similar to our own journey. Lots of integrations, lots of working with other players in the space, and really connecting with the overall community as a way of kind of bootstrapping yourself, even if you don't have a fully working service.
Yeah, like,
yeah,
you know,
I think.
Go ahead.
No, I won't.
I was gonna say that it's tough to like it depends on what your goals are. Like it's interesting because when Rarible started, it was like sort of the NFTs were just starting to convert into art from like more just all game stuff, like originally it was all just crypto kitties and cards and all like, NFTs for potential games. And that's how OpenSea set everything up. So it would be traits, and it was like, what level would your character be? And then people started doing like, well, I'm just going to do art, right? And then like when Rarible started, it was like right on that wave of people just deciding like, well, let's just do art. And I think that was a really good moment to like connect with people to do that. And it was kind of this perfect. And it's funny because now the game stuff is sort of like retrending again. Like now it's like a bunch of game NFTs are starting to like retrend again. But like OwnerFi, like our company has always been like had our sights set on like a really far futuristic goal, even from like actually when I started our company, it was called Receipt Chain. And we started in the end of 2017. And it was always about tracking physical property on the blockchain. and it was before the term NFT existed. And so at first I created our own smart contracts to track physical property on the blockchain. And it looked very similar to what ended up being NFTs. So when CryptoKitties released the NFTs standards proposal, I was like, well, let's just use that. So we built in the ability to make NFTs in our app, and it already existed in 2018, but it only ever worked from the app. So so if we would have just made a website, we probably would have been a lot bigger. But because it was an app and you had to send cryptocurrency to the app and make NFTs in the app, it was like really complicated. And it was just something that very few people, nobody really wanted to use it for all of 2018. And then most of 2019, the only time people finally started using our app was 2020, or sorry, 2021, just beginning of this year. And then it blew up. And it was just the wrong timing, you know, but still like our long-term goal, like tracking physical property of like having big customers, like big designer brands and stuff like that, it's always been like kind of too big for our britches. And I mean, we're like getting closer, but it's like you kind of have to deal with like what's going on in the NFT space like right now. And it's funny because another company just came out called Tracker, and they're calling themselves the first company to connect physical property with digital goods. I'm like, that's total bullshit. Like, there's been a lot of companies to try it. What's his name? William Shatner tried to do it for a while. His company, like with his digital twin, whatever. I don't know what happened to that. It's dead, obviously. And there's been a bunch of other ones. But the thing is, that idea of like this like designer, you know, tracking like physical goods and stuff has been like I've talked to so many investors about it, and they're just like, I don't get it. And it's so far fetched. It's still so far. It's still like in the future. So like, you know, you have to deal with like what's going on right now. And like, even though I hear about this company, like, you know, this new company who's about to start doing it, I'm like, all right, good luck. Like, like it's gonna be a year before you have a product, and you're gonna face all the same issues and all the same skepticism that we face. So, and you haven't solved all a bunch of the little things that we already figured out how to solve. So it's not a big deal, but like we keep having to change our strategy. And now I'm at the point where we need to sort of deal with like what's in the market right now and how we can make money immediately. And that for us is just about like helping more people make NFTs, basically, because that's what people want to do right now. They want to make NFTs. So, you know, it's like, why should we focus on these really specific ways to use NFTs and try and sell people on this really long-term picture of the way they can use NFTs when there's all these people who just want to make NFTs? And let's just help them make NFTs, you know, because there's a demand. So, you know, that's kind of like where we're at right now.
That really resonates with me, and we're probably getting way off topic for Rarible Developer call, but I wanted to express that I feel everything you said about your journey, I really resonate with. And we're at a point right now that, you know, we do unlockable digital content on NFT ownership, but we're also finding that like the market is so young that people are just getting the idea of like, what if an NFT is just a video? You know, like no one's thinking like that next step of like daily content. So we have to kind of like back up, and even though we have all the technology for the next step, like we just have to walk people through like just creating an NFT that's just like a public video or a public image, you know, like is like just getting people like almost taking to fish to water, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I totally understand your concept, and I've talked to a few investors about it, and I think it's a fantastic direction. I think it's also another place where NFTs are going to be in like 2 years, 3 years. Everybody's going to be using them for that kind of thing. But for right now, it's like trying to explain to a blind person what the color green is or whatever. You know, it's like it's too far away. So like, yeah, you kind of have to figure out something that works for you right now. It's but we're getting closer to like working with like who's there right now. We're like like just like with our website, like we're finally like allowing people to just use credit cards to just make whatever they want on the website. And, you know, we're just kind of dealing with like what people want to do right now and making the app better so that people can, you know, our app is still like super popular. We have like, you know, 300 downloads a day on our app, you know, people trying to make NFTs, except that they still need to have Ethereum. So we're like, we need to activate credit cards so people can make the NFTs with a credit card, because people don't know, they don't know how to go to Coinbase and send it. There is like a whole process and trying to teach people how to do that. And plus Apple hates it. Like Apple hates, like it hates our app for one thing. They hate all cryptocurrency apps for one thing. And the main reason why they hate all cryptocurrency apps is because they can't take a cut of everything spent. They want their 30%. So we have to be very like peculiar in the way that we make our app function, because there's certain, like we can't say the word payment, for instance. So people are wonder like, why is your app so weird? Why is it so hard to like understand? It's because it has to be purposely obtuse. And it's so incredibly frustrating, because we can't just have a tutorial, step 1, 2, 3, 4, how to do it, because then Apple goes, oh, now we understand what this is, and we have to block it. So it's, yeah.
About enabling in-app purchases for this?
Yeah, so we have to enable in-app purchases, except that we have like a weird, tricky thing going on with our code. That means we have to transfer our app to a new company in order to enable in-app purchases. So this is like a whole thing that we need to like work on. It's going to take like a month or two, because we have to reinitiate our app under a new company, because we had an old company that's connected to a different bank account. They won't let us change our EIN number. It's like your company's social security number. So like because of a quirk of the way their system works, we can't enable in-app purchases because we actually have technically a different company than when we started. So that's a little stupid.
One
Go ahead.
Yeah, one example that I've seen recently is this app that is doing the wallet for Flow. What's the name of it? It's Block to Wallet. So when you try to create a block to Ethereum wallet, they actually like initialize the contract wallet, and you need to pay gas to create it. So they created a mobile app in which you can make an in-app purchase, and they give you points that you spent on gas, basically.
Yeah, there's one company called NFT Gang that just came out with an NFT creation app, and they do a subscription. And I think, I haven't actually made one of their NFTs, but I think they're using Polygon. And I think that's probably the direction we need to go, is just basically make it so that it's free and we just pay the Polygon fees. And then we might have like a subscription or something to try and recoup a little bit of money, even though Polygon is super cheap. Just because, you know, that's the only way, because there's so many little transactions involved, which is what I just found out from doing this on the website. So if you go to the OwnerFi website, we let you sell to, without ever making any cryptocurrency purchase, we let you sell all the way, get to the step where you sell to Rarible, right? Which means we have to seed your account with cryptocurrency, do the approval transaction for you, so we're covering like the transfer fees and the fee to do the approval, and the fee to make an NFT. So I have to calculate that and make sure that we have enough little bit of overhead on all those credit card transaction fees that it works out. And
Do you need those NFTs on chain when you create them? Because you can actually create a lazy mint NFTs for free. They don't need approval and they can be sold without.
Yeah, well, one of our business models is that the point of making the NFT is not just to sell it. It's to have a record of it on the blockchain. So most of our NFT users actually never even sell anything. They just make NFTs. And so that's one of our kind of our business points. It's just like, it's a record it's like a proof of existence. And we take SHA-256 hash, and that's part of the information we add to the blockchain itself. So we have the IPFS link and the SHA-256 hash, just like I think Zaha Market, or what's that one called? Starts with a Z. They do that too, but I mean, we were doing it for like 3 years, but but yeah, so that's why we always like want to make the NFT like on the blockchain, like when it's made. So we're not like that. That's the one thing is we probably won't ever do the lazy minting model, but we do definitely need the some kind of market, because we don't have any like marketplace plans to build our own marketplace for it's just too much work. It's like
one thing you could think about is like I did this for a hackathon. I built this thing called the hash chain. Basically, I had the same issue. Like I was thinking about like what would the world look like in the world of lazy minting, because when you lazy mint, it's not timestamped on the blockchain, but you do want to timestamp it. But if you timestamp every single transaction, it's going to be expensive. So what I did, like I used Polygon, but basically you create like a Merkle tree, like you know how IPFS allows you to create a whole folder structure. So you create like a whole folder, recursive folder structure of, let's say, like 1,000 minting transactions, and then just embed the root hash of the IPFS folder as a single transaction, and you do it like every like 10 minutes or something like that, then it's much more affordable, because it's still, as long as you provide the Merkle tree and it's provable, but it's much cheaper, so you can even do it for free.
You're talking about embedding like a snapshot of what's currently happening on the blockchain. So you have some
you could lazy mint all the tokens, and then you could create a Merkle tree of like 1,000 lazy minted token IDs, and then every 10 minutes or so, you could timestamp that root hash of the Merkle tree of all the token IDs bundles onto the blockchain. And then that'll effectively timestamp the entire tree.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That would work, I think, scientifically. That makes sense to me. We are trying to like keep it like so that the information is accessible as well, though. Like one of the things that kind of like occurred to me was that you know, if you bury information in like events or something like that, it's harder to access from.
So my idea was that you could do that on IPFS. You create a whole folder structure of 1,000 minted tokens, and then they're all on IPFS, and you ground the root hash of the IPFS folder to the blockchain every 10 minutes or so. So you're basically creating like a virtual blockchain built on top of IPFS.
Yeah, you're like doing like a side chain that's sort of like doing like a check-in every once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
I'll just share the link later on. I don't want to like.
No, I totally get that, because like for a minute we had our own side chain. We built our own Ethereum clone when we first started because we wanted to make more NFTs faster. And one of the things, you know, we considered was always doing some sort of like hash proof every once in a while, just to prove that our chain, the state of our chain was the same periodically. So I mean, it totally makes sense. I think like what I'm trying to do now is just sort of like really keep as much transparency as possible, so that like if people want to like see that something existed, like they don't have to use, they don't even have to trust us that much, or like use our custom tools. Like one of the things I really don't like about what's going on with like Top Shots or some of these other companies where they're just bearing a lot of the stuff about what's going on with their NFTs. It's like what's the point of an NFT if there's a bunch of stuff that's hidden? You know, I love everything being like on main chain Ethereum, like for you to just query and see, and for everybody to already have the tools available to analyze. If everything's like hidden in all these like sub Merkle trees and stuff like that. I mean, what's so like great about Polygon is like they already have their own Etherscan, you know, like Etherscan built in Etherscan for them. But I mean, technically what you're saying totally makes sense. And like it's like how it's like a balance, you know, like it's technically true that it's provable that you can say like this existed at that point in time. But like you're keeping that data like in a private database someplace. The sort of the I mean, I guess you're keeping it in IPFS, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but I'll just share the link later on. Like you'll see when like I even have a video. So
Yeah.
Bertrand and Joy joined the call, and I'm curious, like, hey guys, where are you coming from? Do you have questions about protocol, about things like that? Because like some of the people here are all like know each other, and we've been chatting for a while. Sorry for that.
Okay, I'm from France, near Paris, and I've discovered the Rarible protocol just yesterday. I've joined the Discord, and then I've seen there was a dev call just 1 hour ago, so I've joined to discover more about it because I was interested to see if only Rarible can deploy the Rarible protocol, or I could test to deploy it on a local blockchain or on later on an EVM compatible blockchain. I have not yet understood if how it could work.
So Rarible deployed this on Ethereum, and we also run Indexer on Ethereum network. We plan to deploy to Polygon, and there is a team that deploys that on Moonbeam. And as for what chain do you have in mind?
It's called a Fuse network, where I'm already a validator and I've already deployed some NFT framework. And one of the Fuse team sent me the Medium article about the announcement of Rarible protocol to ask me what I was thinking about. So I thought I've already adapted some NFT framework to Fuse, and I've already adapted Snapshot to Fuse. Was thinking if I could read something about deploying or testing the deployment of Rarible protocol.
I actually think that this would become like a thing, deploying Rarible protocol on different EVM chains. They already have interest from like the Solana. There's Moonbeam EVM compatible chain, and there are much more chains, so XDAI. I think what we really need to create as a community, as a kind of process, how do we work with the team that want to deploy this on some EVM compatible chain? So it would be great to deploy that from a community multisig to be able to upgrade the protocol by the decision of the community and things like that. And I think that's a wonderful idea. It would be harder to run the indexer on top. It's just more complex product, but I'm actually very bullish about this idea. Have you had a chance to, I know, had you had at least a brief understanding of how it all works, or so you can like ask something specifically already, or you just want to learn in general? Like,
I've read the Medium article that explained the purpose of the Rarible protocol, but I've not looked yet deeply at the GitHub to see if there is some. I was thinking to look at the documentation, the docs.rarible.org, to follow some tutorial and see if I could get some
there is
more detail.
there is the GitHub link on Rarible.org
Okay.
that leads you to the protocol contracts, Ethereum indexer, and the protocol Ethereum SDK repositories.
Yeah.
And
anyway, with the SDK, okay, protocol contract. Okay, so I could start with the protocol contract.
yes, the Ethereum indexer is the next thing to tackle, and then yeah, the SDK. Docs.rarible.org have this overview of how the protocol works.
Okay.
It shows you like basic just logic. Protocol contracts are basically an off-chain order book implementation with on-chain execution.
Okay. So yeah, I've seen there's a README, so I could try to, yeah, with the truffle and use truffle to compile test, and so I could bootstrap it locally to test it first locally, and then
Yeah.
If I want to share the test with the Fuse team, I could also deploy a test version on Fuse if I manage to run it locally, and then do some tests with them. Even if it will not be, if it will be just a test deployment and not yet. As you said, I agree that all the DAO should manage the deployment on every sidechain to be able to upgrade it and to do the vetting for it, or the approval, saying that's a safe deployment, and it's not just one guy on one side just deploying them and don't trust something you have not verified by yourself.
That's exciting, yes. So we also have the community call on Thursdays. It would be cool if you could join and share the results of your work.
Okay.
And yes, please welcome to our Discord. We have a community of developers, a cozy one for now. It's actually like, I expect this to be a big thing, deploying Rarible protocol to different EVM chains, and then to adopt bridges across all of them to make sure that we can move NFTs like across the whole like internet of chains.
Yes.
From Ethereum to Fuse and vice versa, and to connect them all together.
Because I've looked at before at OpenSea, and OpenSea and their documentation says they have deployed also on Polygon, but they have nothing about deploying another network. So, and it didn't seem so open on OpenSea despite the name. Format I've seen, so I thought joining at the beginning the Rarible DAO with this Rarible protocol motivated me to try it first.
Are you familiar with the concept of meta transactions?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rarible protocol supports meta transactions to make sure that you can like deploy to EVM chain and then to build a layer for the users, for the end user to don't have any like to have the need to have the native token to be able to use it.
Yeah, that Fuse is based on a meta transaction for the end user. In their Fuse wallet, they use the Argent smart wallet contract also to be able to make transactions that doesn't cost any Fuse because it's using a relayer. And then it's also integrated in Open Zeppelin Defender already. So that's why I'm looking for integration to add into Fuse. I've already added a snapshot and a scaffold ETH for the quick start template. And then now that there is a NFT build grant program, I've already had some grant for the scaffold ETH deployment. And but it's just a prototype. Then I was thinking if I could validate the deployment of Rarible, validate technically the deployment of Rarible on Fuse, it would give much more user friendliness than just a prototype. More in the long term, but it will be a good start to see if the Rarible protocol can be deployed.
I have a question about the cross-chain aspect. So like it looks like the grand master plan is that like there's a Rarible contract everywhere and like all the blockchains, and then they're all connected somehow. But what about the governance token? You know, like the Rarity token is on Ethereum, so like that's gonna be still like just based on Ethereum, right? It's not, you're not gonna issue tokens on like all these different chains.
Yeah, you're right. So I think we chatted with that about that with Eric the other day.
Mhm.
I guess Gnosis Safe team was doing something in that direction. But basically the idea is that you make governance decision on one chain and then you bridge the decision and not the token to another.
Mm. Okay.
That's the idea.
I think in the future, maybe the next generation of chains, I could see this like cross-chain governance being a thing. But to be honest, we're way too early in the industry to start talking about cross-chain governance and the complexity that would bring into operations, in my opinion.
Well, most of the team haven't yet figured out the complete on-chain governance in Ethereum and just use the community multi-sig and the off-chain voting, and that works totally fine. And I guess that would work for all the other chains for some time, again, as fine as it is.
I've got a more nuts and bolts question. The payouts section of the API or the protocol, like what's the intention for that? Like what is it supposed to be doing?
So the idea is that when you create the order and you want to sell an NFT, when you list an NFT for sale, you can create the distribution of the payouts, include that in the order itself. As soon as the order is matched, and the resulting payment would be split across different wallets.
Okay.
So that in conjunction with multiple creators and multiple royalties, that allows you to do things as collaboration, like natively. Just you can have an item that belongs to 5 users at the same time.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to know. And then the origin fees?
That's for the monetization of your front end. Each order can also include the fees in the order that would get payout not to the protocol, but to the front end that submitted the order, that listed something for sale, or that's buying something.
Okay, and is that just that's basis points?
Yes.
And it's just, you can just have like 1,000 basis points listed there. It doesn't have to add up to anything, right?
Yes. It probably should be. I'm not entirely sure about the order of fees. I think it's protocol fee, then front-end fee, then royalty, and then payouts. So, well, probably if the protocol fee is above 0, then the front-end fee of 1,000 basis points won't work, right?
Are the payout fees separate from the value that like is associated with the creator account? Like under the creators field, there's account and there's a value of like 10,000 for just one creator, or is that something entirely different?
It's something entirely different. So we needed to understand if you want then to display things, if we would mix it all together, then you want to understand like what is this, what from this is the platform payment, what is the fee, and what is the developer receiving. So per fee, front-end fee, royalties, and then payouts. Payouts is the equal just creators that are supposed to be there.
Is there anybody writing this out better, like for the documentation, so that?
Yeah, I would really appreciate it. Like this is like a top priority. Like I've shared this on Discord like multiple times, but this is like the top priority for the documentation.
Yeah, I feel like I've got my head around the royalties and what the payouts are, but I need to like understand it all very implicitly and perfectly because I'm coding it. So I need to know the order and how it all adds up together, and I need to understand it perfectly.
Yeah. Hi everybody. Hi everybody.
Hi.
Sorry I'm late today. Yeah, regarding this documentation and this all royalties, fees, and all this stuff, we updated the doc, but it's the PR there. I need to review it, maybe correct something, and I will post it. So yeah, 2 days ago we updated. We had a task to update this doc, so I think it will be there.
Where to look for it? Will that be on Exchange?
Yeah, at first it will be on GitHub. There is near the contracts, so it will be near the contract that does all these calculations, and I will post it on Discord.
Okay. By the way, all the documentation is open source as well. Any improvements
But the problem is we don't know how they work. Only you guys know how.
Well, it would need to be like the good place for it would be in that API reference website, or even in the docs.rarible area, like one of those areas. Because if it's on the GitHub near the code, then I have to go find it wherever it is, like in the repository. But like you expect it to be near where the API calls documentation is in the like the what is it, the reference-API website.
Yeah, I mentioned this in Discord as well, but I think it would be really cool if Rarible protocol has like like W3C kind of like protocol specification document. So like, oh, like this payload, this attribute of this payload means certain things and things like that, like very clear. And I think it'll save people a lot of time going forward, because
like,
you can just.
Yeah, like there's the API-reference.rarible.com, right? And it's, I don't know if this is like auto-generated or if you can edit this manually. But if you can edit it manually, it would be nice to have it like in there. Otherwise, like the other place is the docs.rarible site, which is very user friendly. It's very nice on the eyes, as it would be nice if you could put it in there. like next to creating a sell order, like on this page right here, just put in the link. That's probably like would be the best place for it.
Let me
Yeah,
write it down.
this doc needs improvement. Yeah, for sure, and we'll update docs Rarible.com too.
I mean, just to give a context of like what like from my point of view, what makes it confusing is like, you know how like creators has this like parts array, and it has like these like portions for each creator, but like you also look at like payouts and it also has the same structure. So you don't know like, wait, like if creators has these like numbers and there's also like payouts, like what's the difference? And there's no like documentation about like how they're different. And like another example would be like when you're submitting an order, you can change it. You can make the price go higher, but to make it lower, you have to create a transaction, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't, but it can happen that other people can use old order to invoke it. So yeah.
But like there's like other kinds of edge cases where like, for example, what happens if you change the data array? So like what if you change the origin fees or like all these other attributes inside the data instead of the price?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point too.
That's why I think the spec like specification, like once that's like all fleshed out, then like we don't have to like worry about all these edge cases, because just by drafting this specification, the protocol becomes really clear and everybody can just reference the protocol specification instead of.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think we have the new team member that can help us to do that, who will start working soon. Is that right, Evgeny? Did they accept our offer?
No, we're still looking for the technical writer.
Yeah.
And yeah, we didn't find yet anyone who fits this role for us. So yeah, we're still looking. Unfortunately, yeah.
I had another question about this is not really, I was just wondering if you guys noticed anything on your end about the way that, I don't know if you're even really concerned about it, but the way that OpenSea displays the creator of NFTs. I noticed recently that they changed it so that if you're on a shared contract, they show that the creator of the NFT is the person who created the contract rather than the person who first received the mint.
No, I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, I noticed that for all of our contracts and for any contracts that I made that were new. And I was just looking around their site and it seems to be like a change that they made in policy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering if that affected you guys at all. Yeah, I mean, Rarible's still doing it the way that we expect it to work. So that's cool. But it's just a really stupid change on their part that I can see pissing off a lot of people.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. About 2 weeks ago, I had a talk with OpenSea, and they suggested me to, yeah, we had an issue with displaying creators for the lazy minted NFTs, and they suggested me to emit this mint transfer. I mean, transfer from zero address to the creator first. So it's strange that they changed, because yeah, like 2 weeks ago we talked about it and they told it should work.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And I was talking to Open Zeppelin team about how to do lazy minting, and then they were also recommended, do an emit event to the creator and then do transfer after that. And I built a smart contract just to do that. And I started using it in production, and now it's changed. So now my only option is to create a new smart contract for every single person. And the only way, in order for it to show up properly on OpenSea, and the only way that's even remotely possible is to do it on Polygon. So it's kind of like really crappy of them. If you have any more pull than I have, I can't even talk to anybody in the OpenSea team.
Yeah, I will ask OpenSea about it. Could you send me? I think I can find this NFTs by myself. If I don't, I will ask on our Discord if. Okay. Actually, yeah, I will try now to find something.
Yeah, it's just kind of a crappy turn of events.
Really quickly, this is not really a question, but I did want to ask about an update. So last week, Jonathan asked about the possibility of increasing the amount for royalties, because we have charities that are interested in using our system for being able to associate royalties that are higher than 50% that go to that and to the charity up to 70, 80, 90%. And I think, what was it? I think it was mentioned that this is something that was talked about or discussed previously, but we were curious if there was any conversation in regards to this since then.
Basically, the answer to this lays in the security landscape. So we've limited the royalties usage just because our royalties contract isn't fully audited, and that's why we decreased the level of our royalties to make sure that we can limit the risk, basically. So that can be increased, and probably that will be increased as soon as we just 100% sure in our royalties contract, our royalties registry contract.
Is
So
this restricting protocol based or a Rarible side based?
it's a protocol based.
So the protocol has the smart contract has 50% cap. Okay.
For roles, yeah.
So then this is something that would be revisited potentially after an audit.
Yes. So basically, if you're having any long-term talk with any projects, it's safe to engage in that. But if that's something short-term, then probably audit is less.
Missed the important part.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, break.
Yeah.
When do you think the audit is gonna?
That's short-term. It's an
Yeah,
ongoing.
you cut out there for. Okay.
It's Friday the 13th. It must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's full on.
So there's no a hard ETA on the audit that's still being decided.
I guess that's just the question of one of the next batches that will run for audit. By the way, we have a couple minutes left. Have you seen that update that we now display top collections on Rarible page? That are using activity not only from Rarible but from other marketplaces as well. We started with OpenSea. And actually, the activity is available from, we started to track activity from other marketplaces as well. So, and that's available on the protocol level, in the aggregation functions and in the activity API. We'll continue to work in it, I don't know, agnostic aggregation wallet for NFTs. This protocol on that. If you've heard about someone building something like this, then I'd encourage you to share this idea.
You could also like have like a highlight based on like page views. That way the users are gonna like share the hell out of their NFT collections, and then it's gonna bring in more traffic to Rarible.
That's what we're doing actually internally. It's in the development. So yeah, expect some updates about this. Not very soon. It's fairly complicated, but it's at some point. And also, we might bring these things to the protocol slowly. So that might become the part of the protocol as well. If there, you obviously hear more about the requirements from the community, and just convey that to us. If there is a lot of requests for search and filters and sorting, like favoriting on the protocol, we might drive that to the protocol layer.
All right, folks, I gotta hop. Good seeing you all. Happy Friday.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's
Bye.
wrap it up.
Yeah,
See you,
cool.
everyone.
So,
Yeah.
see you next time. I will try to come to the community call on Thursday, as Alex asked.
Thank you.
And filled an issue in a protocol issue to try to document my testing. This way we'll I found the startup dApp that is based on scaffold.eth. So as I've already run scaffold.eth and Fuse, then it will, I think it will be easier for me to start with that. Because it's running first, it's running on Robston. Then I think I can try to deploy it locally, to deploy the contract locally with Truffle and adapt the startup dApp to connect to the local contract. And if I manage to make that, then it should be easy enough to do the same on Fuse. That's my plan.
Yeah, I think Alex dropped out again.
Okay, that's the plan. See you then next Friday or next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.